This next section has actually 4 subsections. In it, Jefferson accuses King George III for abuses of executive power. The history, as he says, the history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. So once again, like a lawyer presenting an argument. Second, he argues that the king combined with Parliament to enact an unconstitutional measures. He has combined with others to subject us to a jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution and unacknowledged by our laws, giving his assent to their acts of pretended legislation. Thirdly, he accused the king of committing acts of violence against the colonies. He says he has abdicated government here by declaring us out of his protection and waging war against us. Finally, he argues that the King George III has ignored many petitions for redress. Jefferson says, in every stage of these oppressions, we have petitioned for redress in the most humble terms. Our repeated petitions have been answered only by repeated injury. A prince whose character is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant is unfit to be the ruler of a free people. Jefferson then denounces the British people, saying, nor have we been wanting in attention to our British brethren. We have warned them from time to time of attempts by their legislature to extend an unwarrantable jurisdiction over us. We've reminded them of the circumstances of our emigration and settlement here. We have appealed to their native justice and magnanimity. We have conjured them by the ties of our common kindred to disavow these usurpations, which would inevitably interrupt our connections and correspondence. They too have been deaf to the voice of justice and consanguinity. We must therefore acquiesce in the necessity which denounces our separation, and hold them as we hold the rest of mankind, enemies in war, in peace, friends. In short, the British people were supposed to be our brothers, says Jefferson, but they have ignored these terrible acts upon the colonies and their duty to change them. They've ignored their moral obligation to us as their countrymen, and for this, we are no longer brothers. We are two different peoples. Jefferson concludes, we, therefore, the representatives of the United States of America, in General Congress assembled, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for the rectitude of our intentions, do, in the nature and by the authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are, and of right ought to be, free and independent states, that they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved, and that as free and independent states they have full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and do all other acts and things which independent states may of right do. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. In this section, Jefferson summarizes that their decision to separate can only be judged by He who created them, God. That they are merely exercising the rights with which they were endowed by their Creator and had been trampled by England. The final sentence and its reference to a mutual pledge personalized the conflict into a moral drama.